Your phone lights up. Her name appears on the screen. You pause for a second. Your heart reacts the same as always, beating faster. Your palms slightly damp. It's been 3 days. No message. No sign. You told yourself you wouldn't hope anymore. But just one notification from her, and you sit up straight, dropping everything you were doing. You open the message. Not a check-in. Not I miss you. She only asks if you know a quiet place with privacy. Because this weekend she has a date with someone else. Or worse, she needs you to help move things. Fix something. Pick up her pet. Listen to her troubles in love. The love story you're not part of. You still reply. Still with enthusiasm. Still holding on to the thought, if you're patient enough, one day she'll realize. You reassure yourself that you're building something, that being this close, it must be just one step away. But at night, when everything is silent, you know the truth. You're not the one she chooses. You're just the most accessible, not the most desired. You're not being rejected. You're being kept. Not because she needs you, but because she isn't ready to let go of something convenient. If you've ever seen yourself in this, ever felt hope at a message, ever thought a glance was a signal, then stay. This video isn't just for you to understand. It's for you to escape. You are always the one who shows up. When she needs someone to listen, you show up. When she feels lost in the middle of the night, you are the first to answer her message. When she's sick, you check in. When she's happy, you congratulate her. When she's sad, you comfort her. You don't demand anything. You don't pressure her. You don't make her respond. You believe that if you keep being patient, if you stay sincere, if you keep treating her well, sooner or later she will realize. You believe that true feelings will eventually be returned. You think she's just not ready yet. That she's healing. That she's stabilizing her life. And you wait. You become an unnamed support. Not a lover, but not a stranger. A relationship with no clear definition. A closeness without commitment. She shares everything with you, except her true feelings for you. She lets you into her life, but never lets you into her heart. You are not loved. You are used. You are the one she calls when she needs advice about the man she actually likes. The one she trusts, but not the one she chooses. You are the safe, stable, pleasant version of masculinity. And because of that, nothing to desire. You think you are building a relationship, but in truth, you are building an emotional service she uses for free. The more present you are, the more she grows accustomed to you as something default, and anything default will be taken for granted. You are giving away your time, your care, your kindness, your emotions, even your hope. In return, you get polite thank yous, a few texts when she's free, and your presence in her life without any clear place. You are not the lover, not the chosen one, just the easiest to call, the most predictable, and the one who never says no. Oh? You thought, as long as I stay, there's still a chance. Oh? But the truth is, because you always stay, you never had a chance at all. You don't make her think of you as a man. You make her think of you as an option. An option that doesn't bother, doesn't demand, doesn't pressure, doesn't attract. She knows you'll always reply. She knows you'll always be available. And because of that, she never thinks she has to put effort into you. You become the one she only turns to when everyone else has already left. And even then, you still feel happy just for being chosen last. But that's not being chosen. That's being the only one left. And in the eyes of others, your persistence isn't called loyalty. It's called submission. You think you are giving out of love. But in reality, you are trading away your self-respect to hold on to a nameless place. The more you try to be the nicest man in her life, the more you blur the image of the man she truly desires. You think you are playing a long game, but in truth, you never had a piece on the board. So the question is, If she never intended to choose you, why does she still keep you there? She doesn't intend to hurt you. She doesn't lie, doesn't promise, doesn't bint. It's just, she doesn't tell you to stop. And for a man in love, not being rejected can sometimes be more dangerous than a clear refusal. She keeps you around, not because she loves you, but because your presence is too convenient. You are the fastest to reply, the most attentive, the most consistent. You don't bother. You don't pressure. You are the emotional safe zone she can return to any time, whether it's in the middle of a lonely night or an afternoon when another man lets her down. You don't demand affection. Don't ask for response. Don't make her commit. And so, you become the ideal choice when she only wants comfort, but not something real. She has you as an emotional backup package. Oh, like an umbrella in the trunk. Not needed every day, but when it rains, essential, and when the sun returns, you are folded away neatly for the next uncertainty. You are convenience. You are comfort. You are a backup system with no insurance, no fees, no contract, no risk for her. She isn't a bad person. It's just, she's too used to receiving care, without having to give anything back. Your presence makes her life more stable, but doesn't make her heart beat faster. She keeps you as a permanent, temporary solution. A special friend, but never special enough to be the lover. And because you are always there, she never feels she could lose you, nor sees any reason to lift you higher. You once thought the gap between important person and lover was small. Just time. Just a little more care. Just a chance. But the truth is, you were placed in the wrong position from the start. Not because you're not good enough, but because you're too easy to have. When a woman feels she can lean on you without giving anything in return, she won't think about investing in you. You are the true emotional servant. No salary, no term, no right to refuse. She knows you'll still be there. Even if she's silent for days, even if she shows off about dating someone else, even if she forgets your birthday, you'll still text, still care, still show up. And once someone knows you won't leave, they no longer feel they need to hold you with affection. They only need to keep you close enough so you don't withdraw. She may be in a relationship with someone else, but she still keeps you as the backup man if that fails. Still wants you to hear her cry. Still wants you to show up when she's tired. Still needs you to maintain the feeling of someone always behind. End of a time. You're not the chosen one. You're just the one not dismissed. And that is the kind of wound hardest for a man to break free from. Because you don't know who to be angry at. No clear fault. No breakup. Just a half state dragged out indefinitely. You think you're moving towards something real. But in fact, you're circling something nameless. Each round you lose another part of your value in her eyes. And another part of your self-respect inside yourself. She doesn't keep you with promises. She keeps you with familiarity, by not letting go but never holding on. And you stay, not because she holds you tight, but because you still have hope that one day she will realize, oh, but what keeps you stuck is not her. It's hope. You stay not because she holds you tight. You stay because of the moments she comes back right when you're about to let go. A simple message. How have you been lately? An unexpected late-night call. I just wanted to hear your voice. No. A passing remark. If everything else weren't so messy, I probably would have chosen you long ago. No. Just once is enough to keep you going for weeks more. You hope again. You tell yourself, maybe this time is different. But nothing is different. She still disappears after that. Still busy. Still not ready yet. Still making you feel so close, yet so far. You are caught in a psychological phenomenon called intermittent reinforcement. The most dangerous emotional mechanism. No pattern, no commitment, just surprise, and just enough. Like playing a slot machine. You don't win consistently. You win in small bursts, just enough to keep playing. Even though overall, you've already lost too much. You don't pull away, because you think you're almost there. You fear that if you let go, that will be the exact moment she opens her heart. You talk to her every day. You think, we're getting closer. She tells you about her family, her past, her deepest wounds. You think, she trusts me. You see her start being more proactive, sometimes texting first, sometimes asking what you're doing. If you've eaten, you think, maybe she's starting to have feelings. You get invited for coffee, for walks, for movies. You think, it's becoming real. But then, just when you begin to expect, she pulls back again, silent again, cold again, or says, I don't want you to misunderstand. We're still just friends. I hope you understand that. And you hurt. But you can't blame her. Because, what is there clear enough to hold on to? She never promised. You just wrote the script in your own head, then believed it was real. The closeness you're holding on to doesn't come with love. It's one-sided attachment. One way. No return. You're the one she trusts when she's weak, but not the one she longs for when her heart beats fast. You are comfort, but you are not the first choice. And the painful part is, she doesn't need to remove you. She just needs to maintain you. You are part of her life like a familiar app, always there, no cost, never off. And because of that, never valued. You still think that if you try a little harder, if you stay patient a little longer, she will realize you're the one who deserves love. You use kindness to persuade, use presence to change her heart. But the truth is, love doesn't come from logic. Love is not the sum of good deeds. Love is a deep emotional connection that you cannot force. No matter how much you sacrifice, you've invested too much. And that's why you can't stop. Not because she gives you clear hope, but because you fear that if you stop, everything you've done will mean nothing. You stay because of hope. But that hope doesn't grow with time. It only keeps you from leaving, but never enough to make you move forward. And she consciously or unconsciously knows this very well. She doesn't need to hold you with promises. Just a little warmth. Right when you're about to let go. Then coldness again. Right when you want to step closer. You think you are building a relationship on kindness. But in reality, you are locking yourself in a golden cage. That is not love. That is a chain of emotional reflexes triggered by inconsistent signals. You think you're moving forward, but in reality, you're going in circles. The longer it goes, the more your value erodes in her eyes. The deeper it gets, the more you lose your ability to tell real from false in emotion. You are not just trapped by hope. You are trapped because your very effort is making you lose worth. The more you love, the less you are chosen. It sounds irrational, but it's the painful reality many men have gone through. You think that sincere feelings, expressed correctly, fully, consistently, will create affection. You believe that if you give enough, if you stay kind long enough, she will realize you are worth loving. But here lies the paradox. The more you pursue, the less you are valued. The more you show, the farther you are pushed. The more you care, the more you are labeled easy to have. M4, because in instinctive psychology, what is easily accessible is not exciting. What is always there is not desired. What is always ready is not worth keeping. Women are not ungrateful. They just respond to scarcity, not to excessive kindness. They are drawn to what has standards, boundaries, limits. The man who keeps their attention is not the submissive one, but the one with principles. The man who excites them is not the one always available, but the one not easily entered into. The more predictable you are, the more you are seen as having no other options. The quicker you say yes to every request, the more you are seen as weak. The more willing you are to drop everything and run to her. The more you are removed from the list of men to be respected. It's the unspoken rule. Scarcity creates value, and easiness makes people doubt your value. You once thought, if I don't love sincerely, what kind of man am I? But the problem is not love. The problem is how you present yourself, as if anyone can have you. Love doesn't come from effort. It comes from attraction. And attraction is when you give, without losing standards. She doesn't want a man who does everything for her. She wants a man who can, but only when she truly deserves it. She doesn't get moved by constant presence. She gets moved when she feels she must put in effort to keep you. The easier you are to hold, the less you are kept. The more you try to prove, the more you are doubted. The more you insist, I'm different. The more she thinks, just like the others not chosen before. Women don't want a man who always says yes. They are drawn to the man who can say no. Not to control, but to show he has principles. The attractive man is not the one texting constantly, but the one who replies at the right time, with depth, not trying to maintain meaningless presence. He doesn't need to always show up, because he understands the right absence can have more impact than constant presence. You are trying to be the one always right, always good, always easy. But the man she desires is the one who makes her reflect on herself, the one who makes her level up to be worthy of him. You think the more you love, the more you give, the more you prove, the greater your chance. But the more you prove, the more she thinks you have nothing else to offer except effort. Love is not about doing. Love is about touching the right level of value. And value is not in how many texts you send, how often you check in, or how often you show up. It's in the ability to do nothing, yet still create a depth that makes her think of you. You have loved too much. So much that you lost attraction. You have given too much. So much that you lost your boundaries. And she, though she may be grateful, cannot choose you. Because choice does not come from gratitude. Choice comes from the feeling of, can't be missed. And that never comes from being easy. Only when you realize this, only when you understand that kindness cannot replace attraction. And loving more does not mean being chosen. Can you step out of the endless loop of giving without ever being kept, to escape the role of the backup option? You cannot just wait for her to change. You must change yourself. Not to make her choose you, but to be strong enough to walk away before being drained one more time. The first step is to stop reacting fast. You don't need to always reply immediately. You don't need to always be there every time she calls. Learn to create distance. Not to retaliate, but to give yourself time to observe, because when you always react right away, you unknowingly send a message. Nothing in your life is more important than waiting for her. You must accept a truth. Someone who never prioritizes you does not deserve the right to reach you anytime. The second step is to reset standards. You cannot keep accepting nameless relationships. You cannot stay forever in the role of almost a lover, but never acknowledged. If she is not ready to define the relationship, you must be strong enough to be the one who leaves. A relationship without definition is usually a relationship without a future. Don't try to interpret what is never made clear. Watch the actions and decide with reason. The third step is to preserve your value. An attractive man is not the most agreeable, but the one who knows how to protect himself from emotional exploitation. You cannot expect others to respect you if you don't set boundaries yourself. Value is not in how many times you help. Value is in knowing exactly what you deserve and refusing to accept less. The final step is to detach from false emotions. You must learn to see clearly that talking a lot does not equal being loved. Meeting often does not mean you have a chance. Her being comfortable with you around does not mean she wants you as her man. Closeness does not equal choice. She may be sincere, but not every sincerity leads to love. Do not confuse gratitude with desire. Do not turn your care into a reason to continue a journey without end. You don't need to disappear, but you must step back far enough to see clearly who is truly moving toward you, and who is only using you as a temporary stop. Let her feel your absence. not as a tactic, but as a clear reality. You are not the man who is always there when not valued. You have the right to refuse the nameless role. You have the right to withdraw from a relationship that erodes your self-respect. You have the right to choose yourself before waiting for someone else to choose you. Because you don't need to be kept in anyone's life. You need to be chosen, clearly, decisively, by someone who knows your worth. You need a love that doesn't make you struggle to prove yourself, a connection that doesn't put you in a supporting role, a relationship where you don't have to sacrifice yourself just to survive. And you will never have that if you keep allowing yourself to stay stuck as the backup option. Instead of asking, does she need me? Ask yourself, do I still need to stay here? And if the answer is no, walk away without noise, without blame, without regret. There is only one reason strong enough to make you stop, because you have finally chosen yourself. She never said no. Amen, but she never truly said yes. Del, she didn't reject you. She just kept you close enough not to lose, but far enough not to choose. You were there, every day, always ready, always kind, always believing that if you stayed long enough, you would be seen. But some things don't depend on time. Some truths cannot be changed by effort. You were not wrong for loving, only wrong for thinking that true love will always be returned. The truth is, not everyone will choose you, even if you do everything right. And if you ever stayed only for a word that was never spoken, if you ever gave everything, only to receive silence, then it is time to stop. Not because of hurt, but because you've awakened. Awakened to understand, you don't need to be kept. You deserve to be chosen clearly, directly, without guessing. If you've ever let go, not out of weakness, but out of respect for yourself, leave a quiet comment. I'm not waiting anymore. I choose myself.